राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन 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 यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha Madhav Kunj Bihari, Radha Madhav Kunj Bihari, Jai Radha Madhav Kunj Bihari. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravrishagacharya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Śrīla Śrīdhara Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Purport ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nama Ācārya Śrīla Thakur Hridas ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय, गंगा देवी की जय, यमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी रानी की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, इस्कॉन बीबीथी संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री श्री गौरनीताय की जय, श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय, श्री ललिता विशाखा सहित राधा श्याम सुंदर की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौ प्रेमानंदे. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Everybody warm enough? Om Namo Bhagavate bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu bhatreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishthiki krishne swadhamopagate dhanamajnanadibhisah alaunashtadrishamesha puranarko dhunoditah. This is Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 49. And today we're covering texts 12 and 13, but really we have to look at 11 because the three texts go together. These are all the words of Kunti Devi. Here we see Krishna is opening a new phase in his pastimes in this earth. After killing Kamsa, Krishna has transformed from a simple cowherd village life, and cowherd boy, into a great hero and statesman. And he's already dispatched Akrura to go to Hastinapur and see what's happening. How are they treating my devotees, the Pandavas? And so we're getting a glimpse into the deep family rivalry that's going on that will ultimately lead to the great battle of Kurukshetra. Here in the presence of Akrura and Vidura at Hastinapura, Kunti very ardently prays to Lord Kṛṣṇa in a desperate mood. After so many years of unrelenting and vicious intrigues by Duryodhana and company, she felt such intense distress, and now she addresses Krishna directly. How does she do that? Krishna's not there, right? But she's talking as if he's there, even though Krishna's in Mathura and she's in Hastinapura. But she was so overwhelmed. Well, Prabhupada describes this. After seeing, this is Krishna book, chapter 49, titled Ill-Motivated Dhritarashtra. They changed the title in the Bhagavatam. After seeing the very opulent capital city, Akrura met King Dhritarashtra. After he also saw grandfather Bhishma sitting with him. After meeting them, he went to see Vidura and Kunti. Akrura happened to be one of the cousins of Kunti, therefore after meeting him, she began to inquire about her paternal relatives, thinking of her birthplace and beginning to cry. She asked Akrura, whether her father, mother, brothers, sisters, and other friends at home still remembered her. She especially inquired about Krishna and Balaram, her glorious nephews. She asked, does Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very affectionate to his devotees, remember my sons? Does Balaram remember us? Inside herself, Kunti felt like a she-deer in the midst of tigers, and actually her position was like that. After the death of her husband, King Pandu, she was supposed to take care of the 5 Pandava children, but the sons of Dhritarashtra were always planning to kill them. Being a devotee of Krishna, she always thought of him and expected that one day Krishna would come and save them from their dangerous position. What do we call that in terms of Sharanagati? Yes, avashya rakhive Krishna. Krishna will protect. She was thinking like that. So, she inquired from Akrura whether Krishna proposed to come and advise the fatherless Pandavas how to get free from the intrigues of Dhritarashtra and his sons. Single parent family. Not a new thing. Talking with Akrura about all these affairs, she felt herself helpless, and she exclaimed, this was in the day before yesterday's verse, we heard very nicely from Dinabandhu Prabhu, Krishna, Krishna, Mahayogin Ityadi, my dear Krishna, you are the supreme mystic, the super soul of the universe, you are the real well-wisher of the whole universe. My dear Govinda, at this time you are far away from me, yet I pray to surrender unto your lotus feet. I'm now grief-stricken with my 5 fatherless sons. I can fully understand that but for your lotus feet there is no shelter or protection. Your lotus feet can deliver all aggrieved souls because you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can be safe from the clutches of repeated birth and death by your mercy only. My dear Krishna, you're the Supreme Pure One, the Supersoul, and the Master of all yogis. What can I say? I can simply offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Accept me as your fully surrendered devotee. Prabhupada continues, although Krishna was not present before her, Kunti offered her prayers to him as if she were in his presence, face to face. This is possible for anyone following in the footsteps of Kunti. Kunti does not have to be physically present Krishna does not have to be physically present everywhere. He is actually present everywhere by his spiritual potency, and one simply has to surrender unto him sincerely. When Kunti was offering her prayers, very feelingly to Krishna, she could not check herself and began to cry loudly before Akrura. Vidura was also present. We heard yesterday that there's a significant word in that verse, avasidatim, being tormented, being afflicted, distressed, harassed, troubled, etc. Śrīdhara Svāmī glosses that word as klishyantim, which means the same thing. And I think it's Jiva Goswami says that she called Krishna twice, Krishna, Krishna Mahayogin, because she was very anxious. Come now, mat deri. So, indicating his supreme ability, she calls out to him directly in great pain in 3 verses, speaking pitifully. She prays for protection from the dangers in the future, because you never know what demons are going to do. Do not delay in coming. I'm suffering constantly with my infants because of troubles caused by enemies. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur likewise says, she calls him Mahayogi because even though you're situated in Mathura, you can hear my words. She calls him Vishvatman to indicate that because you're in my heart and everyone else's heart, you can hear me. Vishvabhavana implies you protect the whole universe, so why shouldn't you protect your own family members, like us? O Govinda, pleasure of the senses, please become visible before my eyes. This is her prayer. Okay, so today we have text 12. Yeah, okay, so then I will chant text 12 and we can respond with text 13. Nanyat tava padam phojat pashyami śaraṇaṁ nranam bibhyatam mrityu samsarat īśvarāya. For persons fearful of death and rebirth, I see no shelter other than your liberating lotus feet, for you are the Supreme Lord. There is no BBT purport, and even Śrīdhara Svāmī only glosses the word apavargikat. It means moksha pradat, because you're the giver of liberation. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the same thing. Apavargadana arhat. You deserve to give the gift of freedom from pavarga. What's pavarga? Pa-pa-ba-ba-ma. If you're Tamil, sorry, you don't have this. You only have pa. So, and Jiva Goswami He also quotes 4 verses in the same mood that I should not pray to anyone else for protection because your lotus feet deliver one from the root of all suffering, samsara. Prabhupada is constantly telling us, isn't he? These are the real problems. People think that, I need to get my daughter married, or the bills are piling up, or I've got arthritis, or whatever it is. Prabhupada says the real problem is we're in samsara, how to get out of samsara. So Jiva Goswami says, I have this conviction. Brahma Gyan only cannot protect me. Ye aravindaksha vimuktamaninas ityadi. What does it mean? Even those who think themselves liberated, they eventually fall down from that so-called liberation because they have no regard for your lotus feet. Therefore, she's praying to his lotus feet. This is the point. Jiva Goswami is also quoting to strengthen this point. You alone are the person who awards liberation. He quotes from 8th Canto, chapter 24, text 38. Madiyam mahimanam cha parabrahmeti shabditam yetsyasya nugrahitam me samprashnair vivartam hridi. That means you will be thoroughly advised and favored by me because your inquiries, because of your inquiries, everything about my glories which are known as Parambrahma will be manifest within your heart. Thus, you will know everything about me. And similarly, Mam Shriyo Vibhicārena ityadi. We know this verse from chapter 14. Anybody who engages in unflinching devotional service without deviation, that person transcends the modes of material nature. He becomes Brahmabhuta. He realizes that he's not his body. He identifies only as aham brahmasmi. And brahmano hi pratashtaham amrityasya vyavasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ikantikasya cha. Chapter 14 again, next verse. And I'm the basis of that Brahman, impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. We all have our Aadhar cards now, right? It's hoped by now. I don't have one, actually. But Adhara means the basis, and this is what Krishna is saying. This Brahmabhuta Gyan is the basis of devotional service. If you don't have it, then you're rendering pseudo-devotional service, or prakrita bhakti, or what does he call it? Bhakti abhas, shadow, the semblance of bhakti. So it's serious. If we want real, what does he say? Param bhakti. Yes. Mad bhaktim labhate param. Yes. In chapter 18. You have to be Brahmabhuta. This we have to think of. This is the difference between ISKCON and anything else, any other Vaishnava organization. Practically speaking, at least this is Srila Prabhupada's presentation. He forces you to deal with this. You have to develop sambandha gyan. You cannot find people, practically speaking, who are going to give you this understanding elsewhere. But Srila Prabhupada did so, because that is his mercy, divine grace. Therefore we call him his divine grace. All right, so enough said. We can check Srila Prabhupada's purports in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, or chapter 7, or and other places where he gives ample quotes from the Shrutis, that Vishnu is the only person who can liberate you, Krishna. So this is the point. Text 13. Namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe paramātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. Namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe paramātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. Namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe parama-ātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. Anyone else? namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe paramātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe paramātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe paramātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. Mataji's. namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe paramātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe paramātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. namaḥ kṛṣṇāya śuddhāya brahmaṇe paramātmane yogeśvarāya yogāya tvām ahaṁ śaraṇaṁ gatā. namaḥ obeisances. kṛṣṇāya, to Kṛṣṇa, śuddhāya, the pure, brahmaṇe, the absolute truth, parama-ātmane, the Supersoul, yoga of pure devotional service, īśvarāya, the controller, yogāya, the source of all knowledge, tvām, you, aham, I, śaraṇam, for shelter, gatā, have approached. I offer my obeisances unto you, Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Pure, the Absolute Truth and the Supersoul, the Lord of pure devotional service, and the source of all knowledge. I've come to you for shelter. Purport by the servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Śrīla Prabhupada, founder and Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Śrīla Śrīdhara Svāmī has explained that the word yogāya means unto the source of knowledge. Did anybody catch that? It's not something that would be intuitive, is it? So let's hear what he says. The word yoga indicates connection and also the means to achieve something. As conscious souls, we have a connection with the Supreme Soul through bhakti or devotion. Through that relationship, we experience perfect knowledge of the Supreme Soul. Since the Supreme Soul is the Absolute Truth, perfect knowledge of Him means perfect knowledge of everything. As stated in the Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad, yasmin vijñāte sarvam evam vijñātaṁ bhavati. When the Absolute is understood, everything is understood. Thus, Lord Kṛṣṇa Himself, by His spiritual potency, establishes our connection with Him. And that connection is the source of all spiritual knowledge. Thus, Ācārya Śrīdhara, by his thoughtful explanation, stimulates us to deeper understanding of Krishna conscious philosophy. Om Ajnānatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaḥ Mukam Karoti Vācālam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatam aham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Madgavirapi Gopala Swikuryat Kripaya Yadi Tadaiva Sampayah Pitva Hrishayustat Priyajanaha. Śrīdhara Svāmī comments on this verse, text 13, very simply. He just glosses each word. If you haven't noticed, there are 6 terms that Kunti Devi uses to address the Supreme Lord. What are they? Krishna, Shuddha, Brahmaṇe, Paramatma, Yogeśvarāya, Yoga. 6. So he just goes through them. Śuddhāya dharmaatmane. He says that Shuddha means dharmatma. What does your name mean, dharmatma? The soul of religion. Yes. Or it can, I mean, it's, this is, anyway, we'll see what some of our other acharyas say about this. Because it can also mean somebody whose very self is religion. Someone who is so religious that, dharmamaya, you can say. So, this is how he glosses it. Brahmaṇe means aparichinna, unbroken thing. That is Brahman, everywhere, all-pervading, therefore unbroken. Paramātmane means jiva sakhaya, the companion of the living entity. Yogeśvarāya means unto he who possesses perfections such as anima, siddhi, and all the ashta siddhis that yogis are hankering for. So what does yoga itself mean? Yoga means he who is the essence of the self, or the essence of knowledge, jnānātman, jnānātma. So this is why Srila Prabhupada has given us this explanation. Yoga is, what does the translation say here? The source of all knowledge, jnānātma. Or someone whose atma is full in knowledge. Actually, everyone's atma is full in knowledge, but it's obscured. Because, nobody can stop you if you want to double click on something, right? Or if you want to delete it, actually this program cannot be deleted, but you can double click on it, and we've all done that. And that's why we're in this world. Our desktop is full of every other concern except for Krishna. And Krishna's been double clicked. And, because out of sight, out of mind, so therefore people say, there is no God, God is dead. This is why Kunti is saying these things, not just out of her anxiety for Krishna, but we need to hear this. Srimad Bhagavata Purana, the Purana about the devotees. Okay, so this is all he says. Sanatana Goswami says much the same, but very interesting. He says, īśvaratvām eva punar autsukyena vyaktam varanayanti bhakti udrekena sāśṭāngam pranamanti, parama-dainyo dayena śaraṇaṁ yati nama iti. Tairvyakhyātam. She again explicitly describes the Lord with extreme zeal. With intense devotion, she offers obeisances with all 8 limbs and takes shelter in a mood of supreme humility with this verse, which has been explained by our acharyas. Later on, Sanatana Goswami also adds to this that it was out of supreme distress that she did this. Parama-ātmane. So he also says, how does he gloss the word Krishna? Śrīdhara Svāmī did not do so, but Sanatana Goswami says, kṛṣṇāyeti aishwaryam abhipretam eva. He's hinting at the Lord's position as the supreme God. And Shuddha further clarifies that he is God and he's pure because he's following dharma. That's the dharma-ātmane, as Sridhar Swami said. Brahman and Paramatma both imply that the Lord being present in everyone's heart, or everywhere for that matter, will protect us. in all circumstances, everywhere. Yogeshvara means he's the Ishvara of yoga, so who would be better qualified to do so? And yoga, the word yoga itself also means that two things. Number one, he is the means of attaining him. Yoga is the upaya, right? We've heard that. And the other thing is that yoga means actually the union of the Shakti and the Shaktiman. That is to say, the union of the jiva with the Paramapurusha. So either way you want to take it, yoga is there. So these are his comments. We get some insight into Kunti's situation here and her character as well, because she is completely surrendered to Krishna in all circumstances, and she believes that Krishna will also protect her in all circumstances. This is what we have to emulate. And Srila Prabhupada has told us in his purport that actually anybody who follows in Kunti's footsteps in this way can actually experience the same thing that Kunti experienced. We can also have the Supreme Lord hear us, hear our prayers, and give us shelter. So Jiva Goswami says much the same thing. He gives a couple of alternative understandings here. He says Krishna means Aishwaryam Abhipretam Eva, that we've heard from Sanatana Goswami. He also says Krishna simply means Swayam Bhagavan, which we know from Bhagavatam itself. Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. And he says, Paripurna Bhaktinam Paripurna Aishwaryadi Yukta. He is completely equipped with every complete opulence in order to award us any kind of bhakti that we desire. And he's the only way that we're going to get it also. Although he usually doesn't operate directly, he does so through his devotees. That's another matter. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says it simply means bhakti-rupasya, the person who is worshipped by the devotees, that is Krishna. Dharmamatma, he whose essence is dharma, this is Śrīdhara Svāmī, as we heard. Sanatana Goswami says, Shuddhadvadina chaishwaryam vyaktameva. He wants to emphasize here that, make it very clear that Krishna is fully situated in purity. Or another way to see it is that because Krishna is himself, Dharmaatma can mean he's a follower of Dharma. If his very self is Dharma, then there's no way that he would not take care of his devotee, because he's very religious. In this way, he's also pure. So, or he gives three alternatives. He says that Shuddha also means sarva dosha rahita, without any kind of flaw whatsoever. Only Krishna can claim that. None of us can. And then finally he says, Krishna, Shuddha here means maya vihina, without any influence by maya. Jiva Goswami says much the same thing. Dharmaatmataya avasyam sharanagata vrakshabhipreta, or maya sparsha rahita. Same thing, same meaning. Vishwanath Chakravarti also says that being beyond the illusory energy, even though he's visible, he's untouched by that illusory energy. He appears to be within this world. Padma patram ivambhasi. And so do we, believe it or not. This is why we think that we're God sometimes. When we realize the nature of spirit and our identity as spirit, then the great, I want to say temptation, but also the tendency, or the natural, the logical conclusion is that, this is me. Because the identity is so close. So even though we are in this world, we're not of this world. I think Jesus Christ said that. And similarly, even though Krishna is visible within this world when he comes to Hastinapura or Mathura, but he's beyond the illusory energy. And this is not something the demons can accommodate, but only the devotees can accommodate this. They have enough pious credits. So, Brahman. we heard from Śrīdhara Svāmī means a parichinna. Sanatana Goswami, brahmaṇa iti padadvayena tatra cha sada sarvatra sarvaraksha yogyata. Both Brahman and Paramatma, these two words are used in the verse. He says they both indicate the same thing. What is the indication? Tatra cha sada sarvatra sarvaraksha yogyata. He has the qualifications to protect anyone, everyone, in all circumstances, all the time. Sometimes we have dependents. Sometimes we would like to take care of them, but we can't. Isn't that frustrating? Or sometimes we take shelter of someone and realize that that person is not a real shelter. Either way you look at it, but Krishna never disappoints. Sada sarvatra sarvaraksha, Jiva Goswami says exactly the same thing. Or another way he looks at this, Brahman in particular, he says, nirvishesha jnaninam api parichinna tattva jnana matra rupa. He is the form which is, the only form which is actually appreciable by the jnanis. He's the only thing they can appreciate. They cannot go beyond that. Appreciation of identity or appreciation for the nature of pure spirit. It's abstract. So that's his view on it. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur puts it more simply. Brahman means jnaninam upasya, the thing which is worshipped by the jnanis. Paramatma, Jiva Goswami, he says Brahmana, the same thing we've described already. Sanatana Goswami. Jiva Goswami says, Antaryamitva matra īśvarāya jnaninam tad rupaya trishvapi visheshanam. Yeah, more or less the same thing, that for those who are only attracted by the Lord's great power of being antaryami, if you're situated in everyone's heart, can you imagine what kind of power you have? China, the People's Republic of China, I should say the Communist Party of China, would love to have that power. That's why they have these CCTVs installed every 10 inches in the PRC. So, anyway, this is Antaryami's position only, and it's a position of great power. So, those jnanis, they're attracted by paramātmane in that way, or the yogis. And Vishwanath again very simply defines paramatma just means yogi pirupasya, the person who's worshipped by the yogis. Sanatana Goswami says, regarding yogeśvarāya, we heard from Śrīdhara Svāmī. Anybody remember what he said? Why does he call yogeśvarāya? He has all the 8 siddhis. The yogis are practicing. Why are they practicing yoga? They want siddhis. Kids, don't try this at home. You want to impress your friends, right? I sometimes tell this story. I was in Rishikesh once, and one yogi just appeared out of the Ganga. Nobody saw him go into the Ganga. He just walked out of the Ganga. It reminds me of Anjani Kund. Raise your hand if you've been to Anjani Kund here in Brajathan. Anybody? Raise your hand if you've even heard of Anjani Kund. Okay, a few people know, yeah. So we went to Chamelivan the other day with our most respected and beloved godbrother Dinabandhu Prabhu. And in his inimitable way, he explained the pastimes that happened there. Nearby Chamelivan, there's a small kund which is now called Anjani Kund. Before, when Krishna was here, they may have had another name for it, I don't know. But it's in a very secluded place, this Chamelivan. Very, very hard to find, and nobody lives there, and it is a forest area. Very, very remote place. Therefore, this was where Krishna met with the young gopis. Now, we know, if we're reading Bhagavatam, that Yashoda is always in anxiety all day long about what? Krishna. What's he going to do? Is he getting into trouble? Is he safe? So many things. So she didn't see Krishna around, and she went out to look for him. Mother Yashoda happened to appear in Chamelivan at the exact time that Krishna was there, surrounded by young gopis, enjoying mood. And she was astonished to see her son in this condition. She ran after him, but Krishna was quick as a bullet and went through the forest faster than Mother Yashoda could chase him. What did Krishna do? He jumped into that kund. And while he was in that kund, he became Hanuman. So Hanuman exited from the kund. Just as Mother Yashoda arrived on the spot, she saw Hanuman, she immediately paid her respectful obeisances. And she offered prayers and offered puja. She had no idea. He was a deep fake Hanuman. So, this, I don't know, I'm getting off track here, but it's a nice diversion. But from that point on, there's a small temple there, and we see Hanuman in the temple, but he's not really Hanuman. And ever since that day, they call Anjani Kund, which I assume means Anjaneya Kund. If you live in South India, he's better known as Anjaneya. We call him Hanuman. Okay, so this yogi came out of the Ganga, and someone handed him a empty bottle, Limca bottle. And he just took the bottle and reduced it to powder like this and poured it out onto the bank of the Ganga. I saw this. How they do these things, we don't know. At least half of it will be magic. Maybe somebody has some siddhis also, but bhukti mukti siddhi kami shakalaya shanto. Krishna bhakta nishtkama ataibo shanto. Devotees don't waste time with these things. Fruitive activity, brahma gyan, yogic siddhis, they're just distractions from what? From pure devotional service, which is our constitution. Remember, on the platform of Brahmabhuta Gyan, just as Krishna is untouched, like a drop of water on a lotus leaf, so are we. We don't belong in this world. We have better things to do and we're neglecting them. Everybody in this world is so illusioned. We think, well, I have so many more urgent things to do than devotional service. It's the other way around. You can die any minute. Nobody knows. So, jabalaga taname tapana vyapai tabalaga kari hari seva. One poet in the 16th century wrote this. So, we have to take advantage of this opportunity while we can. So Krishna, this is, we're not interested in mystic perfections. And at any rate, Krishna is the master of those perfections. So if you've said that you're a devotee, if you've chanted his name, if you've taken initiation in this line, then Krishna is probably not going to fulfill that desire, even if you go for it. Because he's more merciful than that. Sanatana Goswami says, Yogeshvara means he possesses all perfection. Jiva Goswami likewise, he's the master of all mystic powers, or he's the one who gives the methods of realizing your forms which appear throughout the world. How does he mean this? Nija tatha tathavir bhavanubhavopaya datre. You are the person who gives the means of experiencing your appearances in this world. What does that mean? Yeah, bhakti ahaṁ vijñāte, chapter 18, very clear. So many places throughout the Gita, he says. So this is how he takes yogeśvarāya, the person who blesses us with this supreme bhakti process. Or he gives another definition, because the acharyas are always giving alternatives. He says it also means the person who is effecting the meeting of the Shakti and Shaktiman, as we've described already. Vishwanath Chakravarti further elaborates, Yoganam tat prapyupayanam bhaktavadinam bhaktyadinam, īśvarāya pradhana samarthāya. Yoga means the methods leading to various attainments, and Ishvara means the Lord capable of bestowing them. But we've already decided that yoga also means what? Samyukta means joined. Sanyoga, we have two things in bhakti, right? Viyoga, sanyoga. So Krishna is the one who can bestow this sanyoga as well. And we've already described, lest we forget, you don't get the sanyoga by visiting Ras Bihari Lal's bookstore in Loy Bazaar. All glory to their service. But you get it from serving the pure devotee. because that's when Krishna will bestow his divine grace through his devotees. Normally does this. So, yoga, Jnanatman, the essence of knowledge. That was Śrīdhara Svāmī, we heard. Sanatana Goswami likewise. He's not dependent on knowledge gained from others. Yoga, he is himself yoga. He doesn't have to get yoga from some other place. It's like Prabhupada is always saying. Krishna never had to become God. God is God. So, or it means he joins with his devotees in prema. Sanyoga, as we described. Jiva Goswami likewise, anyato jnanat apeksha. He's indifferent to any kind of knowledge gained from some other source because that person only got it from him to begin with. This is God. Or tat rupaya surupaya cha. The various forms of yoga, he is the one who is in control of this, or he's the essence of yoga himself, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Bhanu Swami has translated this passage as well. What does he say? The word yogāya refers to the very means and identity of all these methods. Okay, that's his interpretation. So Kunti is in anxiety after she's traumatized, as we would say in 2023. Maybe we can say post-traumatic stress disorder, except that it's not post. It's still going on. And she's worried about her future. Worry. Our god sister Kusha very wisely said once, worry is nothing but a prayer that has not yet been offered. You got a problem? Prabhupada said, go to Sri Balaram and tell him, sir, I have a problem. But better than that is if we just surrender, as Kunti is doing here in this verse, and she's glorifying him to make it clear that she understands his position. Although she's his auntie, but she has the Vatsalya affection for Krishna, but she's aware, as we're seeing here, that Krishna is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, we're going to find out what happens in the coming verses. This is the end of her statement. And then Akrura and Vidura, who are hearing her talk like this, almost like a mad woman. Recently we heard Radharani was speaking to Krishna like a mad woman. And here it seems that Kunti Devi is also in such anxiety for Krishna to come. And she's speaking to him even though he's not there. They were deeply impressed by this, much as Uddhava was impressed by Srimati Radharani. And so they attempt to console her in the coming verses, which we're going to hear tomorrow and after that. For now, we'll stop. If anybody has any questions or any comments, we can try to discuss anything. Yes, please. A microphone is coming.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your class. Could you just elaborate slightly, please, on the difference between the definition of pure devotee and perfect devotee?
Okay. In some sense, we can say any devotee is perfect because he's a devotee. A green mango and a red mango are the same, but they're not the same. The effect that a green mango has on your body is very different than the effect that a red mango has on your body. Ayurveda knows this, and Indians also know this. So, in the same way, an immature devotee is a devotee, even if he's practicing bhakti abhasa, as we said before, as long as he has the sponsorship or the mercy of somebody who's really a devotee, then he's fine. He's also accepted as a devotee, but only by divine grace. This has to be highlighted, spotlighted, underlined, capital letters, mortar type. So, this is the important thing that we always have to remember. And people come to Vrindavan, and this is the first thing that they forget. That I'm not actually a very mature devotee. We are monsters who happen to be chanting Hare Krishna. But because we're given mercy by Srila Prabhupada and those who are purely representing him, therefore we have a chance. But a chance and sadhana and siddha, they're two different things. Thirdly, we give all respect to devotees. Anybody who's in this temple room at 5 a.m., what do we say? Vancha kalapatarubhyascha kripasindhu. We respect them as Vaishnavas. But according to their adhikar, this is in the nectar of instruction, the most golden advice you could ever want from Srila Rupa Goswami. He says those who are neophyte devotees and just beginning on the path of bhakti, that's most of us, frankly, you offer them respect in your mind. Those who are initiated and who are in the madhyamadikar and who actually are very seriously engaged, you actually offer them respectful obeisances with your mind and with your body, not just with your body. We have to remind each other. The most important element is actually inside. The body is just a representative of that attitude. Just like here it said, Kunti Devi offered Ashtanga Dandavat. Did anybody notice that? It's not usual, is it? Women don't do this. But such was her duress. Such was her, to say anxiety or eagerness, that she had to find some way to express the intensity of her devotion. And that's what she did. So, and then what do we do when we encounter an actually pure devotee, paramahamsa of Srila Prabhupada's stature, Uttama Adhikari? That person we associate with as much as possible. We faithfully serve that person. We crave his mercy, because that is the only thing that we are living by. As I said, we're monsters who chant Hare Krishna. So we're in bad shape. But as long as we're chanting Hare Krishna under the guidance of a pure devotee, it's assumed that we will become purified. That was the point of Jiva Goswami quoting from the 8th canto in his commentary. Krishna is just assuring all these things, zarur hoga, but you have to just be patient, you have to be determined, you have to follow the principles, you have to give up bad association, you have to embrace good association, and you have to be clean in your habits. In at least one place, Srila Prabhupada says, what is the verse? The Upadeshamritam. 3rd verse. I'm sorry. Utsaha nishchaya dharyat tat karma pavartanan sato vritte. So Prabhupada explains, what does sato vritti mean? You have to act like a sadhu. You have to be pious in your habits. That means you have to regulate your eating, sleeping, mating, and defending according to the injunctions of Shastra. This is what Krishna tells us at the end of chapter 16. The demons don't like this. They want to do everything whimsically, and they'll never get perfection. Krishna says these things explicitly in Bhagavad Gita. So, if we do these things, these 6 things that Rupa Goswami says, undoubtedly assures the complete success of Bhakti Yoga, then we will be completely successful. It is a fact. So, anyway, we just have to stay on the boat, and no matter how bad shape we're in, or not, even if the boat is rocking also. ISKCON is like that. No, it's not easy sometimes. So, but if we just keep at it, then hote, everything will be fine. By divine grace. Is that answering your question? It's a very long-winded answer. Somebody else is maybe raising your hand. Yeah, pass the mic behind you. Mataji is there. Behind you. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you for an amazing class. This is a very common question, but just to clarify for myself if I have the right understanding. As a neophyte, it's okay to have the desire to go back to Godhead, and then when someone's pure, they just want to serve Krishna wherever, like Bhakti.
Didn't we hear this the other day? Srila Prabhupada did say that, yeah. Because, who do we think we are? We really, actually we don't want to go back to Godhead. What to speak of bring other people back to Godhead? We don't want to go ourselves. So, in the beginning, the aspiration should always be, let me become a devotee. Janma sarthakari kodaparubhakar. You understand? First, make your own life perfect, then you can do something for the world. But you have to, there's an order to this. There's a subordinate verb and a finite verb. So the subordinate verb is, janma sarthakari. Grammatically, I'm looking at it. This thing has to precede the second one. The second one is do welfare for the world. So it's important that we assess our own adhikar very honestly and proceed as need be with good guidance, under good guidance. This is one of the many ways in which we utterly depend on the bona fide spiritual master. He will give us the directions. If and when we become so pure that we can actually pray like Vasudeva Datta, we also heard this the other day, let me take on the sins of the entire world so that they can go back to Godhead and I'll stay here. Can you really handle that? I don't know. Hard enough for me to deal with the after effects of typhoid. What to speak of all the sinful reactions of all. Anyway, the point is, we have to assess our own position very honestly and accurately, and then we can strategize a path back to Godhead with the help of a bona fide guru. This is the point. I hope that's satisfactory. Anything else? Yes, Prabhuji. Aniruddha Prabhu. Your name is Aniruddha, no? Yeah, very nice class you gave away. I appreciate it.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you for a nice class. We can assume that Kunti hasn't met Krishna.
We can assume that Kunti hasn't met Krishna. You can. It is possible to assume that, yes.
Yes, because he's just come from Vrindavan.
Yes.
And hasn't gone beyond Mathura.
Yes.
We can assume. So, how does Kunti know about Krishna? She's obviously she's well informed.
Second cousin of this question, how does Krishna understand about the Pandavas? Assuming from a Leela point of view. Yeah. Yeah. No, the contact is there. They're family. In the family, everybody knows what's happening elsewhere in the family, right? Even though it's a very big family. But, there's awareness. So, You want to add something? Yes. Yeah, there's an example of this. She's praying that, she knows Damodar Leela, right? This is your point. And she's been to Mathura also. So, it's not so, this is, without even considering the fact that Krishna is omniscient, as we described, just from the point of view of the plot, if you will, of the Leela, then she knows about Krishna, and Krishna also knows about her. That comes to my mind off the top of my head. I hope it's satisfactory. Anybody want to add to that? Panchagoda Prabhu Satyanarayan. Any other comments?
They say that many times people are traveling and they describe the beauty and the past.
Yeah. This is how it works.
It's all family affair. Family members know all about each other.
Yeah, that's my point, that I'm also explaining that, people are traveling and news is coming and it's like an ISKCON. Anything happens, they know about it in Brazil, 10 minutes later. So it doesn't really matter. Even without the internet, it was like this.
King Bhishmaka had many saintly persons visit Rukmini, heard all about Krishna, and so she wrote that very intimate letter to Krishna, so she knew everything about him from others.
When I was in college, I translated a book called Govinda Damodar Stotram by Bilvamangala Thakur, a Vaishnava poem from maybe the 13th or so 14th century. And later on, I found that a Sant Bhasha version of the same verse in the Guru Granth Sahib, Sikh literature. How does it happen? Well, what is the contact? So, you know, we're all interconnected. Everybody knows what's happening, you know. Nobody here celebrates Eid, I think, but everybody knows what it is. So, you know, like that. Is that okay? Of course. And everybody that Kamsa keeps, no wonder he says that Kamsa was worried. And everybody he's sending, some of, you know, better and better people he's sending to go and deal with it. And they're all getting dispatched. Pronto, no problem for Krishna. Madhvacharya says, Kalya Naga Kṣēline Hanta. He dispatched or killed this, you know, destroyed this Kalya serpent. Child's play. It was nothing for him. We all know the story. He just started dancing on Kalya's hoods. He's having fun. Poor Kalya is getting battered. And his wives are worried so much they had to come and beg. And only by their grace was he delivered. Otherwise he would have been killed. So here again we see, if, you know, we really depend on the mercy of pure devotees, so do not offend them. By all means, please try to avoid that. Okay, it's getting a little late. Maybe we should stop now if nobody has anything more. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.